Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit Show, and I am Robert Gatewood, your host. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. Now, if I happen to save a soul along the way, don't hold that against me. We'll just call that icing on the cake. Now, the mission at Marketing Pulpit Show is to build strong businesses in our community so that we can put our people to work. And we do that with business development, job creation, and service. So if you ever find yourself in a business crossroads and not sure which way to turn, just turn on the Marketing Pulpit Show because we're on a mission. The show is broadcast live from the illustrious Radio 1 studio.
Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not here to save your soul. I'm here to save your business. And we do that every Friday right here with customer service, business development, and that service. Welcome to the show. I'm Robert Gatewood, and I am a business developer by trade. I have a company called Gatewood Marketing and Web. I'm also a business developer, digital technology consultant, written a couple of books. I'm an adjunct professor where I teach marketing and business development, social media strategies, digital marketing, PR. And these are different times. So today we have a different kind of show. I'd like to welcome everybody, all the new listeners and those who've been hanging in there for the past 15 years. We've been at this for 15 years. The show started over at Radio 1 back in May of 2010. The show was given its name after my dad, who was a Baptist minister. He spent most of his years behind the pulpit. So I named the show Marketing Pulpit in his honor. I am not a minister. Well, you might call me a minister of business, but I'm actually a business developer. I help people start businesses. And if you have a business already, I help you grow that business. Well, this is August 1st. This is the beginning of Black Business Month. Black Business Month. Some people might say, why do you need a Black Business Month? Like some people might say, why do you need a Black History Month? Why do you need a Black this, Black that? Well, we're not going to have that debate today. I do think it's important, however, that we recognize that this is a time it's a call to arms. I don't mean physical arms. I mean an alarm because of the state of Black businesses and the state of our country. So this is a different kind of Black Business Month. Normally, I come up on here on Black Business Month. I say, go out here and support a Black business, go buy somebody's t-shirt, go sit in somebody's Black restaurant. Well, it's a little more weighty this time because of the straits that we find ourselves in as a country. I'm going to start out with some news today and kind of give you a backdrop and give some context to why this Black Business Month is somewhat different than others. In the DC area, the USDA plans to ship thousands of workers away from DC. That's the United States Department of Agriculture. Plans to slash its presence in Washington, D.C. by sending employees to 5 regional hubs. Now you got to look at that prima facie at first face value. You say, what's wrong with that? Well, the people where they're shipping the jobs, they can either go with where the jobs are being shipped, if they have that option, or the jobs are going to be picked up by somebody where they're sending these jobs. Places like Kansas City, Missouri, Indianapolis, Fort Collins, Colorado, Salt Lake City. For all those who doesn't know, in the DC area, it's really called a Black economic hub. Probably has the largest concentration of Black businesses outside of the continent of Africa in the world. So when you're taking jobs away from DC, you're taking away a middle class, a source of employment and support for Black businesses. That's one story. My second news story is that the federal job losses jumped to 12,700 in Maryland. Of course, Maryland also is right outside of Washington, D.C. We call this area the DMV, District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. So Maryland has lost 12,700 jobs since the beginning of the second Trump administration. And these are people's lives we're talking about. 12,700 jobs. Once again, we know that in Maryland, you have Prince George's County, once again, one of the Black economic hubs, probably one of the biggest in the country and probably the world. And so when you start taking 12,700 jobs away from an economy, it's going to have an impact, not just on those employees and those workers, but on the businesses that support them. So why do I bring this up on Black business? People are always saying, well, you start talking this Black stuff. I don't want to talk about Black stuff. I want to talk about going out here, making your job, getting your business right. I want to say, go out here and support each other. I want to go out here and say, build the best mousetrap. I want to be talking about the left brain, the right brain, the consumer adoption process, the 5 reasons people buy, critical mass, break-even analysis, SWOT analysis. That's what I'd rather be talking about. But when your community is under attack, your business community is under attack, then those things aren't going to matter if you don't have businesses or an economy. So we have to put things in the right order. So on this Black Business Month, I'm proud that I'm a Black business owner. I have several businesses. I've been in this, call myself an entrepreneur probably the last 40 years. So I like to acknowledge and throw out a supportive economic empowerment to all my fellow Black business owners, and through my company to all business owners in general. But we have these economic disparities. So when Black Business Month was established by Frederick E. Jordan and John William Templeton in August of 2004, they were doing this to celebrate the contributions of Black entrepreneurs and to garner support for minority-owned businesses. And I herald that effort. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to highlight the importance of supporting Black businesses, not necessarily at the expense of anybody else. It's not that kind of party. We are focusing today. Sometimes you just have to focus on a thing. We learned that in Marketing 101. When you throw up the broad net, you really catch nobody. When you focus, you make an impact. Let's give some backdrop on the importance, why it's important to support our Black businesses. Well, first of all, let's look at some general statistics. There is an income disparity in the households between Black and white. White households have an income of about $76,000 compared to Black households of about $45,000. That's 2019 data. Somebody holding a bachelor's degree earns about 20% less than their white counterparts if they're Black. When it comes to wealth, the median white family holds about 8 times the wealth of the median Black family. And when we talk about entrepreneurship, let's just say I'm on this show talking about let's build strong businesses in our community so we can put our people to work. By most counts, Blacks account for about 13% of the population in the United States. But Black businesses account for 2% of the employer businesses. We're not talking about the businesses where you got one person operation and side hustles and things like that. Only 2%. Black businesses are only 2% of the employer businesses. So that means if you're 13% of the population, but you're only 2% of the employer businesses, that means in the current state, in order for the Black community to survive and or thrive, you must go outside the community. And that goes back again to why I started this show, and why I've been doing it and so long and will continue to do it. So once you go to these businesses where you're at 11%, that's that 11% gap, you're facing things like racial disparities, discrimination in hiring, promotion, compensation. On the average, Black Americans face about double the unemployment of whites. Even things as like these microaggressions, such as resumes with Black sounding names, are less likely to be called back than white sounding names. So you can see that this need to create these businesses, these Black businesses, are not just for Blackness' sake, but for survival's sake. There are about 3 million Black businesses in the United States. That creates about 1.2 million jobs, $133 billion in revenue, a 20% growth rate in Black women-owned businesses. Now, when we build these businesses, we get job creation and wealth building opportunities. We can reinvest in the community. And we can be diverse and dismantle some of the historic racial barriers. But then we get down into the details of barriers once you start a business. There's financing disparities. Black-owned businesses experience a denial rate of three times higher when it comes to getting financing. And on average, pay a 7.8% interest rate compared to 6.4% for whites. Then there are new SBA rules coming out that's going to be doing budget cuts and creating uncertainty for some of the Black businesses that have been receiving funding through SBA initiatives. We have tariffs going on. That's increasing the cost of goods sold, which uniquely threatens Black businesses who are already on a razor-thin margin because they're already paying higher product costs because they're not buying in the volume as some of the bigger white-owned companies. And because of this wealth gap that I spoke of earlier, Black families and households don't have that cushion, that nest egg to go out and start a business with their own resources and funds. When it comes to access to capital, many Black businesses are underbanked or unbanked, meaning they're not getting the money they need. We have geographic disparities where there are bank deserts in certain communities. You just can't find a bank. You have to get in your car and drive to another community just to sit in front of someone. Blacks face a higher rejection rate and unfavorable lending terms compared to whites. Then we have this shift in DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I did an entire show on this topic. So we've had companies like Target who had promised $2 billion, promised to invest $2 billion in Black-owned businesses. That was rolled back due to some pressure from the Trump administration. Of course, we see of the boycott is still going on in some quarters. It's a dire situation you find yourself in when you're dependent upon people who also want to oppress you and hold you back. Do we just take this lying down? Well, of course, the first reaction, you want to double down, support each other. Just putting up some of these numbers. Challenges facing Black businesses. About half of Black businesses are denied loans, compared to 18% of white business owners. VC, venture capital funding. Black businesses receive less than 1% of venture capital investments. About 41% of Black businesses closed during early stages of COVID-19, nearly double the national average. There's some serious business, people. So what are we going to do about it? Well, there's some help out there. There's the MBDA program. It's being used as a political football like many other things. People are threatening to defund it, cut back on it. And there are many recent budget cuts in the current administration that seem to be targeted towards Black-owned businesses. So, but there are some opportunities out here. I don't want to give you all this doom and gloom and thank you. There's increased awareness right now. Social movements to recognize the need to support Black businesses. Well, like this show, but we've been doing it for 15 years. This is nothing new for me. We are seeing a e-commerce growth and a digital transformation that can somewhat level the playing fields in some areas. Just a little inside story. This month, I'm teaching a digital marketing program. It's a camp through Prince George's Community College. It's really one of my ways of giving back. And I was asked to do this camp. I really didn't want to do it. I wanted to take the summer off and chill. But when I looked at the state of Black America, Black businesses, the future, then I said I didn't have a choice. Of course, I always have a choice, but I did it. In the midst of it, I get a call from a nonprofit down in North Carolina. They asked me would I come on board. This is between the classes that I'm doing up here in the DC area. Would I come on board and do a presentation for a similar class and camp they were doing down in North Carolina? I did that on Wednesday of this week. So don't feel like we are helpless that you can't make an impact. There are networks out here that are growing. There's funding that's specifically for Black entrepreneurs. There's corporate sponsorships that are still around. But those are short-term fixes. We have to build our own businesses. We can't survive as a community by being 13% of the population with only 2% of the hiring capability. That math isn't mathing. Also, when you get funders, they tend to call the shots. And sometimes those shots don't favor our community. So this is what I'm going to leave you with today. On this Black Business Month, I want you to support Black businesses. I'm not being hypothetical. Because we get into habits. Sometimes we have to break our habits. We're in the habit of going to certain stores. We're in the habit of having a certain amount of convenience. Pick up this phone and let me get on the computer and order Amazon Prime. It'll be here for the night before I go to sleep. There could be a Black business around the corner that has that same product or service. They might not get it to you that night, but did you really need it that night? Might cost you a little more. But you're not just investing in that company. You're investing in your community and your survival. Share this information on your social media platform. Use hashtags. Go to certain business pages. Use the hashtag Black Business Month. Support Black business. Post. Share things like this show. Like I said earlier, mentoring, networking, working on the younger people, give them hope because they will be our future. We have to change these numbers. You can't be 13% of the population and have only 2% of the hiring power. I'm going to say that again and again and again. If you're wondering why I've been doing this show for the past 15 years, nonstop, rain or shine, those are the numbers that keep me awake at night. What if they decide to stop hiring? What if we get to a point where there's so much discord in this country that they decide to stop hiring altogether? Then what you going to do? Educate. Understand these systemic inequities. And invest. Many of you have nice stock portfolios. You've invested in Tesla and Walmart and Amazon and Meta. I'm one of them. I tell you what, I also invest in Radio One. I'm looking for good Black companies to invest in. Isaac Hayes' son has a social media platform. They said $3.99. That's all it takes to get in the door. That's going to be my next stop. Nobody can save us but us. So on this Black History Month, today is the first day, I want you to reflect. There's a lot that I didn't cover today. There's a lot you can add to those numbers that I gave out. You can go back and fact check them. If they're not right, and give me your numbers. Right? Send me a note. I'll come back on the air. If you think I'm dooming and glooming, then I invite you to come on this platform. Send me a note, Gatewood at marketingpulpit.com. I'll bring you on here. We'll talk about it. What I'm going to do later today, when I get off this air, going downstairs, we're having a networking event. BLE, Miss Bernadette Clay, and her staff have put together a monthly event. And we talk about these issues. I'm going to talk about this again downstairs. We're also going to talk about intellectual property, copyrights, patents, trademarks, the difference, how long they last, how you make it happen. But we're also going to talk about how we can help each other as a community, as a country. That's not being racist. That's not being isolationist. When I came along, I worked in corporate America, like the first 10, 15 years of my life. Some of my mentors, folks that impacted me the most, were not Black. And many of them were, but I'm saying some of the ones that profoundly changed my trajectory. And I'm forever grateful. But that's what we have to do. We have to get the information and then go spread it. If we only have 2% of the hiring power, we're not ready. We got to make some partnerships, some alliances, make some friends outside the community. But job number one is to lay down your foundation in your community. Mentoring, networking, supporting, investing. Do that now while you learn. All right, that's it for today. Thank you again. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. I'm here every Friday, 10:30 a.m., bringing you the good marketing gospel. If you're in the DC area, come on down to the First Friday networking event, 9701 Apollo Drive in Largo, Maryland. I'll be there, Miss Bernadette Clay. And she is the poster child of Black business excellence. They have the 3 locations for office space and business services. They have a location in National Harbor, right across from Tanger Outlet. They have a location in Largo Park Center. And they have a location in College Park, which is a hub zone. So you want to hang around people also that can show you how it's done. And that's why we have this networking event every first Friday of the month. Once again, I volunteer to do this. I could probably do something better with my Friday mornings. But once again, when I go out and get this knowledge, when I went out and got a master's degree in business, undergrad degree in pre-law and political science, I don't plan to just take this information to the grave. I want to share it. I want to help. And you can too. All right, let me get out of here. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'll see you next Friday and the Friday after that, God willing. And if you want to be successful, you have to do these 3 things. Do the right thing, Do it at the right time. You have to do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work.